Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another podcast for Combo League. We are currently in week 10, giving y'all the start of the recap for week 9. I am your host, Avengers. Alongside me is my partner, Lima.
Hey guys, it's great to be doing another episode, of course.
We are down to two final people with undefeated records. As you'll see later in this video, that one very special person did lose their ultimate undefeated season. But as you can see, we're here with the Bills and Jets at our number one game of the week. As you recall from last podcast, I did say I thought the Bills were going to win, while my partner Lima did say the Jets.
This really, from the start of it, looked like it was going to be a defensive battle. Only 3 points in the first quarter, and they belonged to the Jets. And well, the Bills did score 2 touchdowns in the second quarter, so at halftime it looked like the Bills were in control. But as you can see, in the third quarter, the Jets scored 12 and 15 in the fourth, and Bills only scored 6 in the whole second half. So you could tell the Jets were playing pretty good defense, and it was hard for the Bills to be able to score.
And it was. If you want to see that game, go to the channel. There is a link in a playlist of some of the games for Week 9, where you can actually see the Jets versus the Bills. It was a great game. I thought it was a very defensive game until the second half, where it just the lead stretched. But on to our number 2 game of the week was mine. Didn't get to play it. It was a force. Texans Sooner just finally came back and started talking again. So hopefully he can play some of his games later in the season. The Titans versus the Patriots, where we both said the Patriots were going to win this. Very close game.
Yeah, and
16
I'm
to
surprised
13.
that it was. I'm really surprised that it was this low scoring of a game.
Well, let's go in to the player stats and see what happened. Marcus Mariota didn't throw any touchdowns or interceptions that whole entire game. Jimmy Garoppolo, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Rushing side of the ball, Christian McCaffrey, 66 yards and 1 touchdown. It looks like this was a field goal game to me.
Yeah, it really does.
After the first,
It looks
it's
like each team scored 1 touchdown, I want to say.
1 touchdown, one rushing by the
And they were both in the first quarter.
yes. So that it was a defensive game. It was a really big defensive game. If it was all up to field goals to win that game, but
And
on
it looks like the Titans did have a 3 point lead starting the fourth quarter. So the Patriots kicked 2 field goals to get the game. So that was a nice defensive job by the Patriots. Well, really all game long, but in that fourth quarter especially.
yeah, game number 4, the Browns at the Bengals. Justin Maldo versus Mama Bear. It was a. If you want to see that game, it's also in the playlist. It was a very big, just offensive blowout on the Brown side, and as we can see, it was 62-16. We did say the Browns were going to win because of his record.
I mean, if you want to go take a look at the stats in this game, there really wasn't much of a difference for yardages between the two teams. So it looks like turnovers really did the job.
Yeah, and sacks. It looks like turnovers and sacks for this game. Let's see, fumbling. Leonard Fournette and Will Johnson for the Bengals fumbled twice. So, yeah, it was a very big turnover game for the Browns.
Yeah, you can see Andy Dalton did have 460 passing yards, but he did throw 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
And there was the fumble by Leonard Fournette and Will Johnson.
Game number 5, it was a sim or a force win, so we're not going to get into that. Bucs versus Dolphins played right earlier today. Uh, I didn't. I don't know who I voted for on this one, but it was a close game. Again, one score lead for the Dolphins to take the Bucs in this game. Not much to say
Yeah,
here,
I think.
as they both had bad seasons recently, but it was who came out to play today.
Well, both of the two teams entered late, so they kind of had to work with what they got, and so we knew that this season wasn't going to be the best for them coming into it. But you can tell that they're playing pretty well. Just haven't been able to quite get the job done yet.
Yeah. Another sim game. They didn't get to play. It was another force win. Debo won that one. We actually said Debo was gonna actually win that, but we'll never know because it was a force. And here was a not a surprise, but they came out to play the Chargers, beating the Raiders. I,
Yeah, and
I,
I know for sure we both picked the Raiders on this one.
we did both pick the Raiders, and that's my deal. Was even if the Chargers won, like we said, it was a rivalry game. They played each other last season, but this
Yeah,
was just this was a blowout. I was expecting a little closer of a game. It looks like Willie Beeman just didn't have his week in week 9.
yeah. I mean, he had 6 turnovers, and he only had 249 total yards. So even it didn't really look like he was moving the ball at all. So
Uh,
a good job by the Chargers defense in that one.
yes, good job to y'all. What's next is the Redskins versus the Cardinals. We did say the Redskins were going to win this game only because the Cardinals do not have a defense anymore. The defense they do have are all pretty much rookies, so they're not as high as overall. With Dion, Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu all gone.
Yeah, and if you look at this game, you can tell that was a big factor because the Redskins did have 611 yards on offense compared to only.
The Redskins have been doing a lot of offensive uh, this season.
Yeah, and it looks like he's playing two different quarterbacks too, each throwing for over 100 yards. And you get and a really big performance by his rookie running back. Correct me if I'm wrong, Maurice Gooch, I want to say,
Yeah,
rushing it 21 times for 340 yards and 3 touchdowns.
he
If he
did
doesn't
tell
win
he
Player
did
of the
tell
Week, I will be surprised.
he did tell us that his performance, even with his quarterbacks playing well, his performance came off of his running back this week. Uh, they just the Cardinals could not shut down the run game. Uh, Congratulations to you Redskins with this performance.
And also, I want
16.2
to say
average yards.
before we leave this game, I want to bring up his user linebacker on the defensive side too. He had 6 interceptions, so it's looking like he's able to get the job done on both sides of the ball really well.
Yeah. Congratulations, Redskins. Hopefully, the rest of your season goes well with your record so far. Uh, and then we come up to your game, Lima, which is actually on our channel. It's not in the playlist. It's an actual video on the channel, and it came down to the wire as I watched it. It came down to the wire for you versus K Cousin, or not K Cousins,
No, it
Defucha,
was the future.
Defucha when y'all did play 30-24. How did you going into the player stats and stuff? What was going on during this game?
Well, it was a tough game, even though like the score, okay, it was 30 to 24. It was a tough. Points were kind of tough to come by. We were both playing pretty well on defense. Both of us had pick sixes. I want to say, yeah, we both had pick sixes. Um, you know, now knowing that I only had 79 rush yards, but I didn't have too many attempts. So going back into it, I wish I tried to run the ball a little more. I feel like I would have had more success.
What happened to TJ
Um,
Yeldon? As we see, he fumbled twice for you on this game. Was it
yeah,
raining or what was going on during this game?
no, It was perfect weather, and they were both hit stick fumbles. But the thing is, it's kind of unfortunate because I did have his carrying up to a 99. I've got his trait, the what's it called, the trait where you fumble. I have that like maxed out.
Oh, they cover the hits.
Yeah,
What?
brace against
Yeah,
what type of
brace it.
hits,
Yeah,
and I
and
have it
yeah.
always. So it's a little unfortunate that he fumbled twice.
Receiving, it looks like Tyler Lockett led your team for on the receiving side with 3 receptions for 227 yards and 3 touchdowns. Was he your just go-to
Yeah.
guy downfield, or what was going
No,
on in that one?
I really just found a few times where the Rams guy messed up on defense. I saw pre-snap that he came out in a defense that I knew I was going to be able to get those plays off. So they were all pre-snap adjustments,
All right.
and yeah, I was able to tell what defense he was in and got those off.
Y'all both had the same number of sacks, and your linemen actually, your left tackle, left guard, and right tackle. Are you gonna change those your tackles? Because it seems like the outside is not protecting you very well.
No, I'm gonna keep my line the way they are because I've got all of them on. I think I've got four of them on Superstar Development and one on Quick. So it's really a matter of time before they start getting really good. And they're
Oh,
all young. I made sure that
yeah.
they're all young.
Well, here we come to a big game, like I said, where it's one down, two to go, where the Cowboys lost to the Chiefs, where I actually said the Chiefs were coming out to play this week for a win and to give Keon his first loss. And you said the Cowboys were going to come away. It was a close game where it looks like Keon should have won with all of his stats, his offensive yards gained,
Yeah,
offensive,
he
but
had 100 more yards than Dalmid did.
as you can see, Kevin Hogan didn't throw a pick. Uh, Dak Prescott actually threw 3 picks on the game. Devonta Freeman having a game of his life. But
Yeah, and it's a little surprising to see Dak Prescott throwing 3 interceptions in this game when a couple weeks ago he had 0 interceptions on the season.
as
So
you
you
can
wonder
see, it
if he
was a
just had a
low
really bad game.
for as many passing yards as they had. They spread it around all their receivers for not that much for each receiver. I'm guessing this was a defensive game with sacks and everything else. Yeah, here's the sack list, and I'm guessing interceptions. Yeah, Demario Davis, middle linebacker, 3 interceptions.
And you can see if you scroll over to touchdowns that he did have a pick six. So and with the score being 27-24, I would want to say that that's the difference maker in this game.
Yeah. Here we come out to our second to last game, Julio versus the max out Giants versus Eagles, where we did not see the Eagles coming out on top because of how poorly they have played, but Julio just fell in this game.
Yeah, and this is another game where the losing team did win the yards battle, and he did turn the ball over 5 times compared to only two.
Yeah, as you can see, and rushing Wendell Smallwood actually had a very good game with 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. Sterling Shepard playing Sterling Shepard and Odell, the duo, uh, playing their hearts out, each over 100 yards. Was
Yeah,
this?
and as we have said before, Sterling Shepard and Odell Beckham Jr. are probably the best receiving duo in this league right now.
And as you can see, it looks like it was another turnover battle, 3 interceptions, and uh, Brantley, a defensive tackle, actually having a defensive touchdown, probably off of one of those fumbles.
And it was an 87-yard fumble return. So that's probably a huge difference maker because that tells you that the Giants were in the red zone about to score when that fumble occurred.
Yeah. Our last game of Week 9 is Little Killer versus Young Stampers, Saints versus Falcons, where they didn't actually get to play just because of personal lives, school, and work. So Lil Killa did get the force because he tried. But on to week 10, where there have been a few games played on week 10. We're not going to talk about them. We will talk about them next week when we do a overcap, but we will talk about the games still not been played yet. First game that comes up is the Texans versus Titans. If the Texans had a user, do you think the Texans would win or the Titans would win?
Well, actually, we do have a Texans user. He just has not joined the league yet, and it is it is More Kills, the head commissioner of the More Kills League. So he's going to be joining us, the Texans, and I haven't seen him play before, so I really can't tell you, but he and BG Evadon are friends, so I'm sure they know each other really well. So I do expect this to be a really good game.
All right, it's another division rivalry game where the Texans could potentially give you more of a lead on the season by taking the Titans out.
Yeah, and I have a one-game lead over the Colts, so the 49ers Colts game right under that one's going to be big.
I would have to give
And
this one to the 49ers because the 49ers, Blackheart and Industrial Taco have played earlier in the season when Taco was the Eagles and Blackheart came out on top in that situation. So just because of playing before and how Blackheart's season has gone as the 49ers, I have to give this to the 49ers.
yeah, and Industrial Taco did come in late as the Colts, so I don't know if this has a lot to do with it, but he might not know the team as well as he could yet. So I would have to give this one to the 49ers as well.
Bills versus Bengals. I'd have to give this to Lehigh. Lehigh is playing very well, as you saw. It was only a 30 to 20 point game in Week 9 versus the undefeated Jets, so I would have to give this to the Bills.
Yeah, and I agree with you. The Bills is a really good user on defense, so I think he's going to be able to slow down the Bengals offense. And
Vikings
I
at Packers, and here's a big game because Texas, like we said for Week 9, Texans Sooner just came back. Debo is here, and the Vikings have a great offense or great defense and great run offense. Do you think Texans Sooner, from being away so long, will be able to come in and stop the Vikings?
I think he's going to be a little rusty, and it is unfortunate that his first game back in a while is going to have to be against a division rival, the Vikings, and not only a division rival, but probably one of the best users in the league. So I do have to give the upper hand to Debo in this one, so I'm going to take the Vikings.
I would have to agree, just because, like you said, we don't know what his confidence, how far it's dropped for his team, so we don't know how the Packers are actually going to play. And like we said, Debo has a great user. Saints at Panthers, two friends of ours, your boy versus Lil Killa, your boy undefeated. Uh, what do you think? Do you think Lil Killa can come in because he's out for blood for this game? Do you think he'll come in and win this, or do you think your boy's going to come out with
Um,
another win?
I do see you, boy, coming out on top, but this is a divisional game, and this will be the fourth time in Combo League playing each other. So, you can't say that they don't know each other. So, I think even with your boy's firepower and good defense, that Lil Killa will be able to slow him down a little bit, but I don't think it'll be quite enough to get the job done and take the win. So,
Well,
I'm
good
going to give this one to the Panthers.
Well, good luck to both of y'all. We hope y'all have a great game. We know we're gonna see this game, and I want it to be the best game there is. Lil Killa and your boy. We'll see what happens. Cowboys or Redskins? Uh, Redskins have come out for blood, man. They've been winning nonstop recently to try to take over the division. Keon lost his first game last week. Do you think that's gonna put a damper on his how he plays?
I think the big thing coming into this game is going to be Dak Prescott throwing the 3 interceptions last week, and the Redskins having, what was it, 6 interceptions with his user linebacker last week.
Yeah.
So, I think that's going to be big. If he's able to create those turnovers again, he shouldn't have a problem winning this game. But they both have been playing really well this season, so I don't expect the Cowboys to come out and and make those silly mistakes. I do expect this to be a close game, but turnovers will probably decide this game.
All right, Lions at Bears. Lil J Money and Thomas the Tiger. 2 seasons not going very well for either of them. Just looking at the Bears team and Lions team, which do you think has an upper hand?
I'm gonna have to say the Lions team because he hasn't been doing as good as he would like to this season, but some of the games that he's lost have been really close. So, if those tables were to have turned, he would definitely be in playoff contentions right now, at least for the wild card spot.
I'd have to give this one to the Bears. Lil J Money comes out and he's hoping for wins. He doesn't. He tries not to make too many mistakes, so I'm gonna give this one to the Bears over the Lions. Uh, Skipping the Broncos and Raiders. Patriots and Dolphins. I've got to give this one to the Patriots. The Dolphins haven't been playing well. They just got another win last week. But I have to give
Yeah,
this to the Patriots because the Patriots have been doing well, and like we said before, the Patriots haven't really lost by much in any of their games this season.
yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. And this another divisional matchup. So, of course, these games are going to be really close usually, but I am going to give the upper hand to the Patriots in this one.
Cardinals at Seahawks. Prophet's kind of fallen off, but he's coming back. Uh, Cardinals, like we said, does not have a defense. So many holes and so many young talent that aren't developed yet. With the Seahawks being the Legion of Boom, that their defense is still there and they have a great offense. I have to give this one to the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one to the Seahawks too, but really, I think the difference maker for Seahawks on offense is they have the ability to throw it downfield and get big gains in one play, and really, I mean, the game could be close all game, and then with the firepower the Seahawks have on offense, it could turn into a blowout real quick.
Falcons at Jets. Young sniper who's actually come close to beating a lot of people that you wouldn't think him to win against versus the 8-0 Jets. I'm gonna have to give
Yeah.
this one to slow it down just because of his season, and he still comes back and wins games.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to give this one to the Falcons because he hasn't played some of his games due to finals, so he doesn't have the record he wants. But he's a good player, and I think he's gonna give the Jets a run for his money, and I think this is gonna be the week the Jets finally drops their first game.
And the last game that we can talk about is your game versus Scorpio. 7-1 versus your record of 5-2, or
Um, uh, 5-3.
5-3. This is gonna be y'all played each other before. Y'all played in the divisional round of last year's playoffs. Steelers barely
And
coming out on top against you. What are you coming in this time? Like, who do you think with this team? Him having, of course, Ryan Shazier, the money man with 94 speed. But
Well, I don't want to talk too much about my game because I don't want to give away what my game plan is for this game.
yeah,
But it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be another really close game, and possibly turnovers decide this one too. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to get too much into this one.
yeah. Well, I wish you luck and Scorpio luck on this game. Going out of the schedule for this week, going into the standings now, where the top 4 teams are still the top 4 teams. For some reason, the Jets have, I think, because they won last week and the Panthers didn't have a game, they took the number 1 spot in the NFL. But the Panthers and the Jets are still 8-0. Cowboys making their comeback after the loss last week. Steelers up there in their number 4 spot. Uh, Everybody's still kind of staying around. You actually moving up and me actually moving up to 10 and 11. Bills dropped. Uh, Everybody's kind of moving and changing. Chargers have moved up. Seahawks and Falcons have actually fallen. Do you think this still can change, even though this being so late and there only being 8 games left? this week?
I think this still has potential to change quite a bit because I mean you could take a look at some of the streaks and you've got the Giants on a two-game losing streak at 5-4, so I think he just hasn't had his last two games haven't been the best for him. Um, you take a look at the Bills; he's 5-3, lost the last two games, and we know he's a really good user on defense, but his last two opponents have been really tough opponents. So I mean, there's a lot of potential for these games to change, and if you look up top, the Steelers has a 7-1 record, and he's won five straight. So he's got the hot hand going into the game this week against me. So I mean, I really don't see the top four changing too much. But if you want to, if you're gonna say someone's gonna fall out and someone's gonna come up, I would say that it'd be the Vikings coming up and taking over the four seed with the Cowboys falling out. But other than that, I think the top four is going to stay the same for quite a while.
I think so too. This year has become really tough just because of free agency and draft. People finally developed their playbooks and everything else for their teams. This has been a tough year for everybody. Not even just regular games. Everybody's trying their hardest to make a playoff spot, to kick people out of their spots. And anything can happen with the next 8 games if it
Yeah,
hasn't already
I'm
been played.
going through here. There's no, even though we got our top four that has stayed pretty consistent. If you go look at division standing, there's nobody with too comfortable of a lead with with the exception of the NFC South with the Panthers having a four-game cushion in that one.
Yeah.
But in every other division, it's within two games.
NFC West, yeah, is the 49ers are only 2 games. Seahawks can come back at any time. 49ers could fall. NFC East, the Redskins coming up to, like we said for week 8, was they're coming for the top of that division. And even the Giants are only 2 games behind that, so anything can really happen. You got the, like you said, NFC South is really the Panthers league right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
NFC
and I
North,
want to bring up
The Vikings have a good lead because Texans Sooner just came back, so it is a 3 game on that
I
side.
want to bring up the NFC East standings with the Cowboys and the Redskins. Now the Cowboys have the one-game lead, but they play each other this week. So if the Redskins were to win that game, they would both be 7-2, and I think the Redskins would have the tiebreaker over the Cowboys. Now I'm not sure if this is their first or second time playing each other, so that will have something to do with it. But yeah, if the Redskins were able to win this game, they would be tied for the lead in the East.
Yeah, they are actually. Their division wins are both 2-2. They both have 2 wins in their division, so it's whoever wins this game pretty much has the upper hand. We go to the AFC West, where that's a pretty tough division. Uh, Chiefs at 5-4, Raiders are 4-5, Chargers 5-4 because they did play their game. So that division really is anybody's division right now. Uh, they're all so close together that anything can happen. AFC East, the Jets really they do, but they do have a 3 game win over their rest. But there are the Bills and Patriots who are only 5-3. So if anybody can beat the Jets and push them down, it's still anybody's division. AFC South is your division where the Jags, Colts, Titans, and Texans, where like you
Yeah,
said, you
this
only
is
have
a
a 1 game over the Colts.
yeah, and I'm really any one of the top three teams in this division can take it. I actually play the Colts next week, so depending on what happens this week, we could be tied going into next week, and that'll be our first time playing each other. So the winner of that game will hold the rights to the division up to that point.
Yeah. AFC North, which is my division, where this division is one of the toughest, I have to say, with me, the Steelers, the Browns, Justin Maldo, and Scorpio. A really tough division. Great users between the three of us. Uh, Pretty much a 2 game, depending on the Steelers this week. It could be a 3 game, it could be a 2 game, or a 1 game or a 2 game. and that's what makes it so hard to be a first seed in our division, is trying to take each other out in different ways.
Yeah, and with this division, any one of those three teams can beat any of the other three teams. So this division really is close.
Uh,
And I even with the Steelers having a 1.5 game lead right now, anybody can definitely take this division still.
so, ladies and gentlemen, that's our podcast for tonight. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Uh, like I've said before, we are posting as many games as possible that people do stream. They're always going to be in a playlist, except for mine and Lima's. We kind of can't do that. We can post them on a different channel and do that, but we're pretty much going to post ours straight to this channel. Uh, we hope y'all did enjoy. If you want to be a part of this, comment down below your favorite team that you're watching. Go watch the videos in the playlist for some of these games that were close or that were complete blowouts, that you can watch and see why it was that. I'm your
And I
host.
also want to
Oh,
say, I want to say before we sign off, if you guys have any suggestions of what you think we should be doing in these podcasts, don't be afraid to let us know. We do this for you guys, so we want to hear what you guys have to say.
we hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe. I am your host, Justin, aka
And I
Avengers,
am your also host Lima.
and we will see you next
And
week on another Combo Podcast.